Thank you, guys. Tonight, my topic is on disappointment. Now, we all know disappointments are a normal part of life, right? And so it's just like any other difficult emotion. How we handle it determines, how we move forward or how we might not move forward and get stuck. And so tonight we're going to uncover, because we don't know, 6 common ways we unintentionally set ourselves up for disappointment. I'm not talking about disappointment that you can just brush off and you just go, oh yeah, that's cool. But it's like disappointments that hurt and that might paralyze us. And so also on the other side of that, how few mindset shifts can help us handle these setbacks a lot better so we can keep moving forward and not stay stuck. So firstly, what do you mean by disappointment? Well, the dictionary says this, and I quite agree with it. It's sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. So when your hope or expectation isn't met, you can have sadness or displeasure or just not nice feelings. And you know what? We all get disappointed. We all face setbacks, failures, unmet expectations. It's just a normal part of life. And the good thing is too, I see the good side of it, that any negative emotions, they can teach us something, right? If we listen to it, we say, why am I disappointed? What's going on? I can actually learn something from it. So you can apply this to any difficult feeling instead of shying away from it and pushing it down. Wow, what is it saying? Let me just learn. Let me just listen to this. Okay, so the problem is though, sometimes we don't realize we're disappointed because we're very good at hiding our, pushing down things, disappointment. And disappointment is a difficult feeling sometimes when it really hurts. So how about looking at some feelings? So maybe we just have all these feelings on the top, right? And disappointment's under. So we can be like stressed out. Might feel really stressed out. Maybe we're sad. Maybe we're irritated. Maybe we're annoyed. Maybe we're frustrated. Maybe we're angry. Maybe we're just complaining a lot. Maybe we're just being negative a lot. But if you pause to process and you talk it out more, and you're praying more, you slow down to process, you find that you're actually deeper down just disappointed because you had an expectation, it went unmet, and something just didn't turn out to be how you wanted it to be. So disappointment is always connected to expectations. If I had an expectation there and it didn't work out, it wasn't met, I'm disappointed. And so is there anything wrong with having expectations? No, right? So we all have desires, we have goals, we have aims. They're not wrong, it's normal and it's healthy then, right? It's healthy and good to have goals and aims and expectations. And it means we're hoping, we're trusting, we're growing, we're changing, we're seeing opportunities, we're progressing. So we have a sense of optimism, right? It's healthy to have that. So then, because we have a focus, so we're not being passive at all. But then there are also 2 extremes of how we deal with disappointments in life. So the one extreme is have 0 expectations. That means 0 disappointments. But that also might mean 0 results. That will mean 0 progress because I'm just like, I want to be safe, so I'm not going to expect, so then I'm not disappointed, then I'm actually not going anywhere. Or the other extreme is to have unrealistic expectations that I get deeply disappointed. So tonight I really want to look at all these unrealistic expectations. So we need to develop the skill of why and what do I do with disappointment? Why am I disappointed? What do I do with it? So that's an essential skill we all need to learn. So I want to look at some common ways, and I've got 6 here, and I have some truth coaches to go along with the guys. So it'd be really good if you can note the truth coaches down. I think they're good, truth coaches. So now these are ways that we might not know that we're setting ourselves up to be highly disappointed. So we're going to talk about them. But I think the best place to start is acknowledging this. Yes, I am disappointed. I acknowledge I'm disappointed. And then talk about it, process what happened. Why am I disappointed? So that's a good place to start. Okay, so number one, the first unintentional thing we do, our attitudes is that rigid and inflexible attitudes. Having a rigid and inflexible attitude sets us up for disappointment. So I used to be a very all or nothing type of person. If I'm all or nothing, if you're black and white, if you've got extreme thinking, if you're quite legalistic in your thinking, if you're quite moralistic, my talk on identifying fixed mindsets and what to do about them, it expands on this heaps more. So I recommend you listen to that. Now, if you find yourself saying only, ever, must, should, always, never, listen to yourself. If you say that a lot, you could be an all or nothing thinker, a very black and white thinker. It's very rigid thinking. So here's some examples. If I'm not the best, I'm a failure. I messed up my diet today, so I might as well give up. If I don't solve this now, I'll never solve it. So do you catch the language and catch what you say to yourself? Catch it. That's black and white thinking. That is rigid thinking. And I get that because, we all need a sense of safety, familiarity, and control. And that's why we do that, why we're rigid with our thinking and not flexible. We can be stubborn. Yes, it can make us very stubborn if we're quite rigid because we're actually needing that deep down. I need a sense of safety. I need control and I need familiarity. But guess what? If you apply rigid rules to yourself and others, you could become judgmental. You could become very harsh. Okay, that's the fruit of it. And then you stress yourself out, you stress each other out very easily. Yes. And, what I've experienced is it would turn into unforgiveness because I was holding on so stubbornly to my rigid ways. I would not bend. I would not be flexible. I would not be open. So I'd become quite unforgiving of myself or the other person. Just really, really holding on. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick and fast way to become instantly more flexible. Okay? Say somebody poses to you a question. Do you want to do this? And it's like this yes or no situation. Say, do you want to do this? So instead of saying no straight away, notice that. You might go, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to. No. Say maybe. Okay, so say maybe. Say perhaps. Say, that's worth thinking about. Try that. Try that. It'll open up a whole new mindset for you. Try that. So notice though, whenever you say no straight, no, not here, not now, not today. No, I don't want to. Okay? Maybe, perhaps, it's worth thinking about. Okay, so here's some truth coaches for you. I've got 3 here. Goals are meant to serve me, not to enslave me. And I can move the goal if I want to. So see the flexibility in that? So be more flexible. And here's a truth that I've seen, and I think it's research can back this up. The happiest relationships are the ones that are mutually flexible. So if you see 2 people being very rigid, being very stubborn, being very set in their ways, what do you get? It's very explosive. But the people who listen to each other and who go, oh, okay, I want to hear you and you want to hear me, we're totally mutually flexible. We're going to progress. Graciousness allows for mistakes, mishaps, and bad choices. I know God is gracious towards me, so why not apply this to myself and others? Right? The way God is to us, why don't I receive it and apply it to myself and others? Why is it just knowledge? Move it down. Apply it. Okay, so number 2. And this is connected to rigid black and white thinking, is conditional thinking. So that if then, if only mentality, right? So this is closely connected. This is where we set conditions for ourselves, believing that if that condition is met, then I will be happy. If this happens, then I will be fulfilled. So it's based on an outcome, and then I might feel better. Right? This is a rules, conditions-based mindset. It is a transactional type of mindset. It comes from where you grew up with lots of rules around you, and it's just very transactional in your relationships. For example, if only I was married, then I would feel loved. So detect the if and then. If my spouse agrees with me, then I will be happy. If I don't have money, then I can't do anything. So you see the conditional thinking? So pick it up. That's conditional thinking. So if you're waiting for an external change before you can have peace or happiness, that's paralyzing. It's going to paralyze you. You're going to be waiting, and waiting, and you get stuck. You'll put your life on hold. You will not make decisions. You won't progress. Disappointment sets in. You're like, nothing's happening. It's not happening. I'm disappointed. Here's the thing. Rules can become your ruler if you are not flexible and relational with yourself and others. Rules will become your ruler if you're not flexible and relational. And here's some truth coaches. I choose to be happy even though, right? Not if and then. I choose to be happy even though I'm not getting that result. And here's another one. I'm okay even if I didn't get that job because I trust in God. I mean, you can all have your own truth coaches. See, I'm okay if I didn't get that job. I'm not going to be, my life doesn't depend on that if I don't get that job. Because I trust in God. He's got my back. Another one's coming. So here's the truth. God is about relationships, not rules. We all know that. And life is made of relationships, not rules. Yeah. Okay, so number 3. Mistaking we are in control of what's uncontrollable. Mistaking it, confusing it, like believing something to be controllable when it's actually not controllable. So we often mistakenly believe we can influence things outside of our control, like other people's feelings, other people's decisions, market forces, timing. Example, that job's mine. If they do this course, that will change them. They should be happy with what I do for them. You know, these are all uncontrollable things. So a sign of this is when things go wrong, we blame others or ourselves. So you end up feeling defeated or deflated. Okay, so recognize what you can control, what is in your control. Basically, is my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own desires, my own wants, me, basically, right? I can control me. I cannot control other people. And it's not my responsibility to either. And I'm not God. So truth coaches. Owning what's mine puts me in control and helps me to diffuse blame. So I have to own what's mine. That puts me back into control because I'm after control. We need control.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Owning what's mine puts me in control. So instead of blaming the other person, oh, it's your fault that I'm unhappy. It's your fault that you said that to me and now I'm sad. It's like, actually, I am feeling sad and that's my feelings. I own it. Therefore, I can control what I feel, right? And the only person I can control is myself, as I said before. And here's a really good one where I think personally use it a lot. I do what I can do, and God does only what God can do. Right? I do what I can do. I can do everything that I can do. You know, cook, clean, whatever, physically, other things. And God does only what God can do. What does God specialize in? Miracles, the supernatural, and many other things that we can't do, that we're not in control of. That's Proverbs 3:5, right? Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. It's a good one to remember. Okay, number 4. Over positivity. Yes, that is when you're confusing idealizing and over positive, confusing it with faith. So if I'm idealizing something, I'm really positive, I believe it's faith. Maybe it's not faith. Maybe you're just idealizing. Maybe you're just overly positive, right? Faith springs from the heart, primarily based on the Word of God. So you might say something like, I believe it because God said it. Yes, I have faith. You know, I have faith. with God, all things are possible. These things are true, but does it apply to what you are wanting, what you're idealizing right now, or towards the situation you're in right now? So we sometimes see people or situations through rose-colored glasses, whether it's a relationship, a job, a dream opportunity. And when the reality doesn't match the idealized image, it can lead to deep disappointment. It can cause you to rush. So if you're really over positive, you rush through things, you overlook details, and you make mistakes. And then you regret it. You're like, oh man, I just went too fast. I was too positive about that. Actually, it didn't happen. The opposite happened, and now I'm flat on my face. And I want to ask you guys this question. Does God disappoint us? Does he disappoint us? Does God get disappointed? Does he?
No.
It's a rhetorical question on my part, but the answer is no, because God knows everything, right? How does he get disappointed? How does he go, oh man, Stan, he just didn't pray enough, I'm disappointed. How does he get disappointed when he knows everything? We project our disappointment onto God. That's why we believe God is disappointed, right? So I feel disappointed, I am disappointed, and I'm believing that God is disappointed. Well, I need to own that projection. That's my feelings. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. It's not God. It's me. Okay, so watch for projections. So here's some truth coaches. Prioritizing doesn't mean rushing. Why the rush? Yeah. Here's another. Do we project onto God? What are we? Am I projecting onto God? What am I projecting? That's a good thing. Yeah. And here's a good one. Slow doesn't mean a lack of progress. I'm progressing while I'm being more detailed and thorough. Yeah, that's progress, being more detailed and thorough. And there's a difference between a realistic expectation, a hope, or a fantasy. Which one is it here? It's a good question to ask. There's a difference between a really realistic expectation, is it a hope, or is it a fantasy? Yeah, which one is it here? Let me discern. Okay, so number 5. This is one of our favorites. Denial. Before it hits us in the face. Denial. We're very good at denying. It's going perfectly. It's going to happen. You can do this. I can do this. When, oh no, I don't want to. So sometimes we want something so badly and we'll be overly positive about it. So then when we're like that, we're going to ignore the warning signs or the alarm bells. We're running right past them because, I don't want to see any of that, to be honest. So when reality hits us in the face, it hurts, right? We're not prepared. We're shocked. We're flooded. We're despairing. Yeah. So the greater the denial, the greater the damage, right? The longer this denial goes on, the deeper and the greater the damage to yourself and others. So here's a good question to ask. What painful feelings or reality am I trying to avoid here? And here's a good one. Why does being honest feel like being weak, defeated, or despairing? When I'm in denial, am I trying to avoid feeling weak, feeling defeated, feeling despair? And being realistic doesn't mean I don't have faith. My trust is in God, and He trusts in my judgment. Yeah. Being realistic doesn't mean I don't have faith. My trust is in God. It's mutual. I trust in God, and He trusts my judgment. Like I'm judging that, I got to be realistic with this. I can't be in denial. This is what it is. It is what it is here. Sometimes we think we're really spiritual when we're being realistic. That's a misbelief. Sometimes we have to be realistic to avoid being in denial. Yeah. And the last one. and this is very important, and I think is a lifestyle we all need to develop, not being relational with yourself. My feelings don't matter. Just get over it. Don't be so negative. Focus on the positives. So we can be dismissing our thoughts and feelings. We're sidelining them. So instead, being inviting and welcoming a conversation. Oh, what's this about? Let me understand this. Like, you can empathize, you can reflect, you can process. Yeah. Be more inviting, be more open-minded. So when you dismiss stuff or pile out your feelings, obviously we know that leads to despair and depression. Despair and depression. Well, actually, being pessimistic leads us to depression, no doubt, too. Yeah. So, yeah, depression and anxiety can result if we're just stuffing everything down, all our thoughts and all our feelings. So instead, pause, right? Pause, always pause we all need a quiet space to pause. Never, never, never get so busy that you're running around doing everything for everybody and yourself, and you'll lose yourself in the process. And you'll be like, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know who I am. And that's sad. So instead, always make pauses during your day, notice, reflect, build emotional tools to cope with setbacks, even small disappointments. If you don't pause to process, those small disappointments will feel like mountains because you've let them grow and fester. That's true of any emotion. If we let it grow and fester, if we ignore it, it'll grow and fester. It doesn't go away. Ignoring your feelings does not make it go away. It actually grows bigger and sabotages us. Okay, so the Bible says to renew our minds, not to ignore our minds. Right? And we are made three-dimensionally, spirit, soul, and body. So ignoring one of these makes me out of balance and not fully functioning. We will be a bit out of balance, maybe too spiritual, maybe we're too realistic and not being spiritual. Maybe we're always praying but never thinking through things. We don't want to be on one extreme or the other. We want to be balanced in spirit, soul, and body. That's where fruit comes from. Healthy trees grow. They produce fruit. Unhealthy trees, they die. Okay, and the last truth quote, sitting with my feelings means I'm acknowledging them so they don't keep standing up for attention from me. So if I sit with them, they're not going to stand up and shout at me. By that time, I'm sabotaging myself. Yeah. So those are the 6 ways that we can subconsciously or unconsciously set ourselves up for unrealistic expectations and really get deep down into pretty bad disappointments. So here I've got two just to summarize it all up. Be more flexible. Be more flexible in your thinking and your attitude and all your relationships. It's not sometimes just black and white. It's not just this option and that option. Could be many other options that we never thought about, and then we pray and then God gives you a third option, right? This can happen. Flexibility. So be flexible, not so rigid. Be relational, not so transactional. So 2 things. Develop flexibility, develop to be a more relational person. Yeah. Yes, that's the end, and I've got a discussion with the 6 points and some questions for you guys to share. Yes, now, questions?